and they're in shock. And we're looking down from the window. They have no idea how this is happening or where we're at. And we're just trying not to laugh out loud. And we're watching them, like, her break off of him. And then they're all, like, getting his clothes on. And her, then they run out the front of the theater, like the weird exits that aren't the real.
Yeah.
Did she have vomit on her face?
I think it was egg.
Egg foo young.
That's not egg.
Yeah.
That's not
and
it.
he wasn't young.
That's horrible. Yeah, anyways, but so that's my other memory there. Thank you for that. But so then have you ever had like a dangerous situation happen? Like where like somebody brought in a gun or threatened somebody and everybody got scared? I got one of those, but I want to see what you guys have. Any of those?
We've had people fall down, like people faint, stuff like that.
Wow.
Nobody like choking that I can remember, but yeah, people like hitting the deck pretty hard.
I wasn't there for it, but there was a guy who had a heart attack.
Yeah.
Wow.
At a restaurant that I worked at.
That's scary.
And they took him away.
Yeah.
And then everybody was like, "Is he dead?"
Yeah.
Jeez.
Poor bastard.
But I wasn't there for it.
Yeah.
What did he ordered?
You know what sucks? I don't remember which restaurant that was that I worked at. I couldn't even.
It's all a blur.
I was trying to remember, like, what did they? You know what? No, that's not. It's
Did
just.
someone touch his baked ziti?
You just couldn't take it.
I agree with that guy. Now you shouldn't like flourish your hand above somebody's food.
Yeah, but also
at all.
you
But
know.
also, I didn't touch your food. He just wanted free
what a
food.
jerk. Because you get liars sometimes. There are people who are just wrong, and that's always kind of fun when someone's like, I believe pepperoni is a region in southern Italy. And you're like, actually, no, it's just cured meat. You should know that. I don't really know how to not be a smartass and tell you you're wrong, but like, that fun kind of part of waiting tables where someone's like, can I get some pepper? And you're like, it's 1 inch in front of your hand right now. I don't think there's
how
a way
you
I can
gonna
tactfully do this.
It's right here.
It's great. Oh, it's so good. Do you play little games when you're waiting tables sometimes? Do you have like any, like we would always play Daughter or Whore.
Oh yeah, that's a classic good game.
Classic.
Yeah, and you hope daughter every time.
Hope Daughter. It's
Yeah.
Talk about
50-50.
men with much younger women than
Yeah,
slutty.
like James Woods.
Yeah, it's always
Ew.
50-50.
He's always doing that?
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, I haven't been there in a while, but
Amber Tamblyn.
Swingers Cafe, that's definitely. But if
He was
used to
with
be,
Amber
if,
Tamblyn?
no, he like was
Hit on her
relentlessly hitting on her, and
And was that at
when
Swingers?
she was like 15. Well, no, I don't know if that was at Swingers, but he was like, it felt like every time we went there during the week, to grab lunch, James Woods was sitting at a table, like, out on the patio street, whatever you want to call it, but with a girl that you're like, oh, look at that guy and his granddaughter. Oh, wait, no, that's James Woods, and
James
that's
Woods was
not
involved in
his
the
granddaughter.
Big Brother, Big Sister program.
Yeah,
Sure.
With
Something
famous
like
people,
that.
you hope for assistant.
Hope for assistant. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but when they don't look old enough to have a work permit, it's like, it's not his assistant.
Somebody had a great joke on a thread about the Roseanne debacle this week. This is the week, folks, in case you're hearing this way later or something, where Roseanne blew her entire career. But
Well, just her show for now. We'll see how the loss of a whole career goes.
I
Probably
think
get a
it's
cabinet position.
although somebody said, and they weren't kidding, give it a month or two and she could wind up with a Fox News talk show.
I see.
I
My
wouldn't be surprised.
joke that I posted online was that her show was dropped, but she just got picked up by Fox News to run their Twitter account. So
Oh, nice. Yeah, well...
she lost that Ambien
they were
spokesperson
saying-
gig for sure.
They were saying that James Woods would be... that ABC's next move is hire James Woods for a family sitcom where he plays an irascible grandfather. And very, very, very young actresses as his girls.
This week on a very special episode of Grandpa Touchy.
Into the woods.
How come all of them are very special episodes? Ladies and gentlemen, James Woods.
James Woods and Roseanne, both from Utah, by the way.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, they're
Get
one
out
of
of
our
town.
two most famous.
So
that
how'd
was
you
my
turn out so good, or is
notable
this just-
celebrity? I know.
Wow.
One day,
Have I not known
when
you
I'm
long
50,
enough?
everybody's going to find out I'm a nightmare.
Well, so are you... And nothing wrong with this. We've had episodes about this. Are you Mormon by any chance, being from there?
I am Mormon, yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, and I still go to church and everything, which
Okay,
is
I'm
which
Catholic.
Is
I
weird.
still go to church, but yeah, go ahead. So, any weird stories about? And I'm not saying this to talk crap about your faith. I'm just saying anything unusual about coming out of Utah or like the move into doing comedy? Did your family give you a hard time for that, or
No, so I'm from this. I'm from Ogden. Well, I'm from the suburbs of this town called Ogden, which is like a railroad town in Utah. So the Mormons that come from Ogden are this special kind of Mormon that like worked on the railroad and stuff like that. So they're like big
Worldly.
swearers and drinkers and like
Okay.
my grandma like would so it's this weird thing where it's this type of Mormon that people don't understand exists, but my parents never had. My parents are like they had like a shotgun wedding in high school. My mom was in high school, so it's a very different environment than people would think. But it is. I mean, leaving Utah, I was like, oh wow, that was a really weird place, and I had no idea. I had a feeling it was, but it's just strange. I mean, anywhere the neighborhood I grew up in is 80% Mormon. You know, so it's just weird. Anytime you grow up in such a homogenized situation,
Yeah.
but
you're like-
culturally, it's very strange.
You're the,
Do you ever-
It's very
the
beautiful.
Catholics of Mormons, really.
yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever joke about it on stage or anything, or no?
Yeah, I talk about just like being Mormon and like believing in like sort of that antiquated, what people feel is an antiquated version of God that's like, you know, like a guy with like long white flurfy hair. But I believe that he doesn't have toenails. Because what does he need
Fascinating.
them for?
Fascinating.
He's an evolved being.
Your theories
He
intrigue
doesn't
me.
need toenails.
I want to read literature.
Fingernails, though.
So I guess here's a question I didn't think to ask the other Mormon comic we had. When you go door to door,
Didn't do it.
you did it,
But you can ask me the question, but I don't know.
How did you avoid doing a mission?
I didn't. I
But you have
didn't
to.
want to.
Or was this part of the Ogden, Utah
It was
Mormons?
part of the. Well, everybody. You know, it's like everybody's. Everybody's all over the place with everything. No, I didn't do it. I wasn't interested. I was inactive for a long time. I didn't go to church. I wasn't interested in it. You know, what's interesting is that I got more interested in Mormonism once I left Utah because I wanted to see like what of this is cultural and what of this is doctrinal that I feel weird about or that I don't like. So it wasn't until I moved to Chicago and then I was like, I'm going to give it another go.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Interesting, yeah.
So, I mean, but do you know, have you heard funny stories? I've always wondered, like, because I did door-to-door a couple things, like, I was in ROTC in high school, and which was really weird because I'm, like, the most anti that now. But
Did you wear the uniform to school?
on the days when we were told to, not every day, but yeah, we had special days for that. Yeah, but the thing is, I was terrible at like I'm very anti-conformist with anything, and so the thing was, it was horrible for me. I got duped into it because our student body president came in, the guy who used to be hilarious, and I thought, did they suck his entire soul out of his body or what? Because he came in and gave this like rigid speech about, oh, this will help you with your life. And I'm like, I don't know, but it's Ramon Escobar. Why not? And so anyways, it was just a horrible experience. But the thing is that was funny was they would let you make up for being terrible at marching and having your uniform proper and all that other crap. By doing, they would give you points for doing food and clothing drives. And I was amazing at getting people to give stuff. And so I went door to door, and my mom, to her credit, she drove me one time. I had so much stuff. It was 3 carloads, 3 days in a row, giant station wagon filled with thousands of stuff. I went from being the worst cadet because I didn't give a damn about anything else in the program, and I wound up like one of the top 3 one semester because I had so many clothes and goods. But it was always weird, like going door to door. I was always afraid at any given door, is this the one where somebody's going to grab me or tell me, why don't you come in? And then you don't ever get out.
Serious question. I mean, this is going to sound
Yeah.
like I'm setting you up,
Yeah.
but when you were going door to door for ROTC,
Yeah.
did you wear the uniform then?
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
I
So that-
imagine people were just happy that you weren't there to tell them that someone had died.
Yeah, right.
Oh, my God.
There's a guy in a military uniform on the front
You have a
porch.
letter.
Yeah.
This was during the Korean War, you have to understand.
Not that old. But anyways,
Yeah.
but like, do you ever hear from, like,
Yeah.
don't they get scared of going door to
Of
door?
course.
Or
My brother-in-law went to South Africa on his mission
Wow,
in
they
like
really got rid of him, huh?
1993, like right after apartheid ended, basically. And he
that was like a decade later, I think, right?
Got-
Apartheid ended? No? I don't know.
I don't know. It was like late 80s, I think.
Okay, all right.
1990.
Yeah, it was around then. Okay.
Anyway, so he went there. He got the shit beat out of him and robbed
Whoa.
and held hostage because
They thought he was black?
because Mormon missionaries wore that like suit and tie. Not a suit and tie, but
Yeah.
a white shirt and tie.
Yeah.
And so they look wealthy to people in certain countries, but
Oh,
they're
wow.
not. Like your parents and the church like pay for your mission, and you don't have any money on you, and you eat like top ramen for the 2 years.
You
but
get the top ramen?
yeah,
Just like
the
fair to
top
Midland ramen.
If you can
That's-
get it, and he drank Dr. Pepper all the time. Anyway, they beat the shit out of him and held him hostage and tied him up to this thing because they wouldn't believe that they didn't have money because they looked wealthy.
Wow.
And so he has this big scar on his head from a crowbar
Wow.
that they
Jeez.
beat him with. And then he finished his needed a blood transfusion, but they didn't want to
my
do it in
God.
South Africa. So he flew back home to Utah, like got a blood transfusion. I don't know if this is the exact right story, but then he finised his mission, and you hear
What?
that all the time. You like go back to South Africa and like finish it up.
Jeez, man. It's like, well, no wonder you didn't want to do it. Why
Yeah.
did they give,
I was like,
why
I
did
don't
they
want
give him a break? I mean, he got his head beat in.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm sure they're just like, hey, if you want to sit this out, you can. But he's like, no, I want to
Jeez.
do it. But I did do door-to-door stuff in Utah. So what happens is these guys go on missions, and then the hardest thing is to sell religion door to door. I mean, you were just asking people for their cans. Like, that's a
Yeah.
little bit easier.
Yeah.
So what
Hey,
happens
lady,
is
show me your cans.
they...
Despicable.
I wish.
did you...
Awful.
Absolutely despicable.
Awful.
Yeah. You're in the presence of a Mormon. And we have, and I don't know if anybody's ever commented, there are Last Supper placemats on this table.
I know it's a weird gag that I don't know why I did that, but it was meant to be funny. But everybody kind of goes, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
So, anyway, go ahead.
Anyway.
Well, question
No, but
question
you-
relating to your brother, and just if you feel comfortable fielding the entire question, was your brother not wearing the name tag? And the follow up is, what's with the name tags? Like Mormonism is the only religion I know that
has
makes
the
you
name tags. Well, the name tags,
Oh,
I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
are, like, so people can identify you. But, like, in South Africa, they're not going to care. They're just going to be like, you work for some rich company. And the church does, like, it looks like Wall Street. Like the dudes who run the
Yeah,
church,
Mitt
like,
Romney.
all Mormons look like that. All the
amazing.
dudes that I go to church with are all, like, in finance. And they, like, look like that. And they,
Yep.
like, work for Morgan Sachs?
Morgan Stanley.
Yeah.
Morgan Stanley.
Well, there was Goldman Sachs,
I'm not
Morgan
good at
Stanley.
it.
Is that a restaurant? That sounds good.
The worst part about I'm my
It's
worst
like a
Mormon that I
Stanley
don't
Morgan,
understand
but-
finance. That's my biggest problem.
Well,
That's what I'm showing for.
2012 was a weird election because you had the ultimate awesome. Like if you wanted to pick straight out of central casting, who would be the perfect black guy to be the first black president? Barack Obama, perfect. And then you had Mitt Romney, who looked like like he stepped off of Mount Rushmore. It was like.
Yeah.
One hell of a, it's like, wow, how do you...
Actually, I always thought Mitt Romney looked like the guy from like all the '80s movies who was going to shut down the teen center.
That's funny. Yeah.
And he probably would have.
Yeah, he would. No dancing.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
This is a job for Shabadoo.
I go to church with Mitt Romney's sister.
Do you?
His
Okay.
80-year-old sister. She's older, and I
Wow.
just found out
She's
this
older.
stuff about it. She's an actress,
What?
and when he was running for president, she had just made this self-produced Cleopatra movie where she played
What?
Cleopatra.
No.
She's,
And she's
80.
80?
You should look it up. She's like
my God,
80,
I'm finding
and
this.
she's blonde. And
blonde
there was
Cleopatra.
a blonde Cleopatra.
And a JD.
As
and
Egyptians were in that time.
she had to like pull it all from all her festivals that she was planning on doing, because it would have been.
Yeah.
But she's the one. Remember the dog story where it's like he
Yeah,
strapped the
tied the
dog,
dog to the roof.
Is her dog.
And he really did that.
and she's still
Wow.
talking to him.
Apparently, well, first of all, it was the 70s and people treated dogs differently.
He probably has 9 other sisters.
I think there. I just looked at it. I'm trying to imagine the picture. I think there's one more brother and one more sister.
Okay.
I think they had.
That was unfair. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's not unfair. It's just a fact that
His
they have
dad was
That's not
busy.
a fact.
His dad was busy being the governor of Michigan.
Catholics used to have like zillion kids. So it's like,
Every religious shame-based organization used to have a bunch of kids.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's like anything. It's like, oh, you're Irish. Do you come from a giant family? Like anything that you could be, you could come from a giant family.
Condoms will send you to hell.
Yeah.
But okay, so door to door, you were saying